Hello, good evening, and welcome to Connect DC's February 2023 full moon meditation. My name is Angela Raincatcher, and I'm going to adjust my screen here because I got to do that. My name is Angela Raincatcher, and I am the convener for Connect DC. We're a public ritual group that meets in the Washington, D.C. area to celebrate the Sabbats and the full moon and dark moons. And I am so glad that you could join us online this evening for our full moon. Tonight, going to do things a little differently. I think because even though we are moving from winter solstice, which means, the days are getting a little bit longer and a little bit longer. I find this time of early February to be when it is the coldest. And I don't know about you, but for me, the darkness hits even more so in this time of year where it's just so cold and dark. And, really, I'll be honest with you, what I really want to do is snuggle up in my blankets. If I had a fire, I would have the fireplace going and just really spend some time reflecting, um, reflecting in the dark with the light of the fire. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my light off and light a candle and some incense. And so you'll see a little bit of me, but not as much as you normally would. So let me, first of all, I'm going to show you what I've got here. This is a piece that I use to light incense and candles. So I'm going to light this candle. And I'm going to light a little bit of mugwort incense. There we go. You can see we've got a nice bit of that smells good. All right, so I'm going to just put that to the side. I'm actually going to turn the light off over here. So hold on just a second. There we go. There's a little bit of light from the candle. And again, the smoke. And I'm just going to set that here to the side. And I hope that in this time you were able to find maybe some blankets or something comfy, cozy to curl up in. I know I've got my fuzzy socks on. Like I said, it's winter time, and we need to take care of ourselves as much as possible during this cold winter, don't we? So what I'm going to do is, now that we've got the lights turned off or turned down, and if you're in a place where you're safe and comfortable to do that yourself, I invite you to. I've got some incense lit, got the candle lit, and I invite you to find a posture, a position, whether it's sitting down, laying in bed, or on the floor, curled up with your couch, comfy chair, and just allow yourself to move around a bit. I like to kind of stretch and move my body, twist my spine a little bit, just to get a little bit of a nice stretch there. Maybe roll my shoulders a little bit, and I suggest you do that too. Just kind of stretch your body, just a little bit, whatever is comfortable for you. And just find the position to lean back, be comfortable. And at any time during this meditation, if you need to shift around to make yourself even more comfortable, feel free to do so. You can always move, you can always find more comfort. And now, again, if you are safe and comfortable to do so, I would invite you to close your eyes and just bring your attention to your breathing. I always like for us to start these with bringing our attention to our bodies, bringing our attention to the breath coming in and out of our bodies. And if you can, just try to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. If you can, if that's not comfortable or if you can't do that, breathe however is best for you. But if you can, just bring your attention to your breathing. You might notice how long your inhales and your exhales are. You may notice that there are places that the air flows freely and there's places where it kind of stutters or it's tight. And again, all we are doing is bringing our attention to it. We're not bringing judgment, but curiosity to that. It's just information at this point. So let's just notice. You may notice how your body shifts and changes as you breathe in. That when you breathe in, maybe your rib cage expands, and as you exhale, it shrinks a little. If you have trouble feeling that, you might just put your hands on your rib cage. Feel that. Feel the inhalation and the exhalation. One of the things that I notice is when I breathe in through my nostrils, I actually feel the coolness of the air right at the edge of my nostrils. As the air outside is a little bit cooler than the inside of my body. And as you bring your attention to your breath, you might feel yourself starting to just settle more fully into your body. You might notice the ever-present pull of gravity on your body. And if you need to move around to shift and be more comfortable, feel free to do that. You might notice that the ambient sounds around you begin to still, and there's a quality of silence, of deep, deep silence. And at this time, I invite you to turn your attention even further inward down from your lungs into your belly, And let your attention just drift down gently, gently, until it is cradled in your pelvic bowl, the space that your pelvis creates. And just allow yourself to rest there in the darkness and in the silence of the pelvic bowl. And let us just do that. Let us just take a few minutes to rest, to breathe. Anything that happens in the world around you now, just let it slide from your mind, slide from your attention. Let yourself just rest and be still. I know for some people this is difficult, and if it is triggering or difficult for you in any way, if there's something that you need to do to alleviate that, I want you to feel completely free to do that. So if you have a fidget toy or something that helps you to focus, feel free to use that. And just rest. And as you find yourself resting, you might find that your mind is playing out stories or conversations. It's maybe something that happened earlier in the day, something that you imagine might happen later in the evening or tomorrow. And if you find yourself doing that, just notice it and let it go. Just let it go. And you might find that you have to notice it and let it go many times, which is totally okay. It's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not trying to reach a blank slate. We're just allowing ourselves to rest. Bringing our attention back to our breath. I sometimes find myself bobbing or floating in between my pelvic floor and my breath, and that's okay. We're just gonna stay here for a little bit. Tonight's not a moon that we're really going to be active or do much. We're just resting in the warmth and the dark with the candle lit. And if you are one of those that likes to flame or candle scry, you can gaze into the candle. Gaze into the candle and just notice how the flame of the candle moves with the invisible eddies of air. You may put your hand up close to the candle, but not so close that you burn yourself, but close enough just to start to feel its warmth. Whenever you find your attention starting to drift to something else, just bring it gently back to your breathing, gently back to your pelvic bowl, just to that quiet space. Just bring it back. Always just inviting ourselves back to our bodies. We're inviting ourselves back to our breath. And in this time of the darkness and the coldness of the year, I want to remind you that just like the trees may look dead and cold, and just like all of the plants may look dead and cold, and under the surface, in the dark, in the soil, life still goes on. Soon the snowdrops, the crocuses, will start to push their heads up, push their greenery up out of the soil, up out of the bulbs. And it'll be a surprise. You'll come out one day and look over and there they are. Where yesterday there was only coldness and winter, all of a sudden there's life. All of a sudden there's spring's promise. Or if you live in an area where there's a lot of maple trees, this is around the time when the maple sap starts rising and flowing. And in other trees, the sap is starting to rise from the roots up into the trees. We haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. It's there, just under the surface. Just under the surface, there is growth, there is life. And just under your surface, in that quiet, dark space of your pelvic bowl, where you're resting and where you can go to bring yourself to this place of peace and rest, just under the surface, life is starting. Life is moving. And as the sun continues to increase in the northern hemisphere, and as the weather starts to warm up in these coming months, you're going to notice that life just right under the surface starts to push you in new ways, just like the snowdrop pushes up from the soil. New ideas, new energy, new excitement is going to start pushing. And what you can do is just open to it, allow it, move with it. Don't tamp it down. Don't cut it out. Don't dig it up. Just let it flow. Let it come up. Let it move you. Let that energy of life move you to explore new things, to be curious. What's growing? What's coming up? What new things can be coming up in my life? Let that light, let that warmth, let that life move you to curiosity, move you to awe, move you to movement. That's my wish and my blessing for you. My wish and my blessing for you for this full moon is that you find the rest you need, that you find the warmth you need, and that as life moves you, you move with it, that you dance with life in this new year, in this increasing year. And with that, my dear friends, I'm going to let you be. Remember that I love you. Now go out, do your work. May the goddess go with you. May all the gods go with you. May your ancestors be with you. Peace. Good night.